Let's do a show. Let's do a show right now. What are we doing?
Can't you see? Everyone! They're here already! You're next!
Let's go.
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born!
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
You know that thing that we start the show with? Let's do a show right now.
What are we doing? Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't know if the sharp-eared among you have noticed, but if you are sharp-eared, you might have realized that is Conan O'Brien's erstwhile sidekick, Andy Richter, who is one of the funniest people out there. And he has the greatest job in the world. He really does. It's an easy one. And look, obviously you look over the other side of the fence and everything seems greener with regard to their grass. But the grass seems greener on the other side of the fence. And I'm sure Andy Richter has a multitude of his own challenges working for Conan O'Brien. But apparently they don't really write any of that stuff. It's all just improvised. Conan is running and gunning. And, he's like the Flavor Flav. He's the Flavor Flav to Conan O'Brien's Chuck D. And he does it awesome. And I don't know. I get the impression that that's kind of a low-pressure situation. But there was a time when Andy Richter, do you remember this, Funkhouser? Andy Richter quit the Conan O'Brien show. Not because they weren't getting along, but he wanted to have an acting career. Do you remember that sitcom he was on? It was sort of like a Dilbert-esque thing about workplace shenanigans. I thought it was good. I liked it. Did you see that?
No. I think I've heard of it, but it was before my time.
It was good, and you know what? Conspicuously, Conan O'Brien was like, "I'm not getting another sidekick. I'm not gonna. If it's not Andy, it's gonna be no one. And I'll just handle it myself." And then when Andy Richter sort of went, this whole acting thing is tough. I've got kids. I could use a paycheck. He went back to Conan O'Brien. Conan O'Brien accepted him with open arms. But I always wonder about the life of a sidekick, what that is like. And I was happy to see. I watched the first episode of that Santa Clarita Diet. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I love it.
I got past episode. I got to the end of episode 1, and I was just like, I don't know if I can watch any more of this. And it wasn't the blood and gore that grossed me out, but the projectile vomiting, I kind of had I don't know what was up. I think it was something I ate, but I had sort of a...
Gosh.
Well, yeah, I think that clip is all over the internet anyway. I don't think you got to worry about it. And far and away, not the most gruesome, shocking part of the show at all. But that scene was just sort of I had a little thunder down under, and I don't know what it was I ate over the weekend, but my stomach was gurgling, and I watched that. I was like, I don't know if I can stick with this. So I got to the end of episode 1, and I might watch more. But as we've discussed many times on the show, I enjoy the work of Drew Barrymore, and I thought it was really cool. And one of my favorite parts of it was getting to see Andy Richter act again. That was he played her boss at the real estate agency. So funny. It was just really, really cool. For me, that was the high point of it. You've watched more episodes. Does he come back? Because
I binged the whole thing, man. He's in it. He's a
really?
character. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. Well, there we go. Santa Clarita Diet. I'm going to watch it, if only to see Andy Richter be hilarious. All right, then. So, Funkhouser. This happened last night.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you to the Academy. Thank you to Lionsgate. Thank you to our incredible cast and crew. We're all up here right now.
To my family, my mom, papa, Jeff. We lost, by the way, but,
Guys, I'm sorry. No, there's a mistake. Moonlight, you guys won Best Picture.
Moonlight won. Come on, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. I'm afraid they read the wrong thing.
This is not a joke. Moonlight has won Best Picture. Moonlight, Best Picture.
I think you guys should keep it anyway. This is very unfortunate what happened. Personally, I blame Steve Harvey for this. I would like to see you get an Oscar anyway. Why can't we just give out a whole bunch of them?
I'm going to be really proud to hand this to my friends from Moonlight.
That's nice of you. That's very nice.
No, so the reason I play that back is like if you are like me, you give award ceremonies in general, the Oscars, the Grammys, the Emmys, things of that nature, the big old misseroo. You find it to be an overindulgent orgy of self-congratulation, and maybe there are a couple magical moments in there, but if you're like me, you enjoy watching the internet cliff notes. You enjoy watching the internet cliff notes the day after. However, seeing that kind of epic mistake happen there in real time must have been exciting. Did you watch it, Funkhouser?
Oh yeah.
Now,
I elbow my roommate and say, "Hey, wake up! Something's going on. There's a guy in headphones on stage."
Now, I have one very big question about it, and it's part of a conspiracy that is beginning to grow. We'll get into the Oscar conspiracy as posed by Funkhouser next.
Let's start the show. Radio. 101.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race.
Alrighty then, Funkhouser.
Yes,
Do you find yourself to be a judgmental person?
of course.
How do you think you get so judgy?
I don't know.
Who are you judgmental of? Like people just walking down the street?
Well, you always assess the person. You always
Coworkers?
everyone.
Are you
All humans.
profiling people? Are you profiling people in the street?
Doesn't
Funkhouser?
everyone do that?
I know I get profiled. We went to that convention the other week. You remember that, Funkhouser? Just a week ago.
Oh yeah.
And we went to this radio convention, which is, by the way, shockingly dull. Great time, great people, all this sort of stuff. But it's like this rock radio convention. And like, I remember sitting next to some record rep day 2 of the whole situation. And he was like, I'm a little tired. I was like, why? He was like, well, I went out last night. A buddy of mine that I went to high school with runs like one of the biggest nightclubs here and is also in charge of a strip club. So I had kind of an epic night last night. I was like, no kidding. Good for you. That's who else went? He was like, it was just me. I was like, you're at a rock radio convention. You didn't invite any of your sort of like fellow rock individuals, like, wild nights and strip clubs. This is supposed to be the stuff that rock and roll is made of. He's like, I tried to get sort of a posse going, but everybody wanted to go to bed. I was like, that's shocking. That's shameful. What the hell, man? What the hell? And he was like, would you have gone? I was like, no, I had to go back to my room and work. But I was supposed to meet up with somebody at this thing. Like, one record label weasel was like, oh, you got to meet my boss when you're out there. My boss is going to be out there. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was unable to figure out who this person was. Even off of the description of them, I asked somebody, I was like, hey, are you this person? And they're like, no, it's not me. I was like, well, I tried. And when I get back from that convention, the person that was like, you got to meet this other person. Am I being clear here, Funkhouser? I feel like I'm maybe
so.
not. All right. One person wanted me to meet their boss at the convention. When I get back, hey, you didn't meet my boss. I was like, I looked for your boss. Did your boss look for me? And he was like, yeah, I did. I said that you were the one that looked like a surfer that was a little out of shape. I was like, okay. Thank you very much. And so I was like, did you profile me? Because I've never set foot on a surfboard in my entire life. He's like, yeah, but you look like a surfer that doesn't really surf anymore. He's like, you're not in bad shape. I was like, but you don't look like you surf every day anymore. I was like, not only do I not surf every day anymore, I've never once surfed in my life. And he was like, well, that's probably why you're not in the best shape. I was like, you know what? As a guy who's trying to get me to play his records, you're not doing a very good job of weaseling your way into my good graces right now. As we've discussed in the past on this show, before I accepted a job in middle management in the world of radio, I was a ripped, tone-shredded super athlete that would attend the gym every single day with single-digit body fat and a visible six-pack, able to cut through life's problems like a hot knife through butter. And now, Funkhouser, I have become the butter!
Now you're hanging 10, bro.
Oh.
AD.
Do you know what
fighting crime and surfing?
Hold on. Do you know what hanging 10 is?
Toes off the board?
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you stand at the front of your surfboard and your toes are off. So like 10 toes are hanging off the surfboard. But a buddy of mine started a record like production company or something, or manage. I don't know. He had a company and he gave it the name Hang 11. Because the idea was that he was surfing naked. Which is a great name for a company. I don't know if he ever did anything with it, but Hang 11 was a really great name for a company. Anyways, my point is not to talk about, how my friend wants to surf naked and hang all sorts of appendages off the side of a surfboard at high speed. My point is not to say that someone told me that I looked like an out-of-shape surfer. My point is to ask about judging, about profiling, about casting aspersions. And it's incredible. It's incredible how, to me, and by the way, this is not limited to any one religion. I think that religion in general has a vibe where oftentimes, and look, you examine every single religion on the face of the planet. Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all of it is linked by one thing, and that is the idea of love. Love is at the forefront. Love is at the forefront of every single religion and every single religious text. You can find, slice and dice every single religious text from the Bible to the Quran and back again, and you can find passages in there that say, hey, love is the answer. Don't judge people. We're all meaningless insects when compared with the Almighty. Who are we to judge? The Pope said, who am I to judge? So many times since he became the Pope has been the who am I to judge Pope. I'm not God. Only God can judge. And if the Pope is taking a stance of non-judgmentalism, a guy who, on the face of things, is supposed to have the tightest relationship with the big guy upstairs, if that is the dude that is saying, who am I to judge? Then, well, who is a small Christian community to judge a retired NFL player who became their high school football coach for a picture of one drink that his wife was holding in an Instagram post from 3 years ago? This man lost his job. We'll get into it later.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on. Come on.
Judge not, lest ye be judged. That's the big one, I suppose. And a lot of people say that Christianity has a PR problem. A lot of Christians feel persecuted. And there is one Christian who said it's the judgment that you find in Christianity that gives Christianity a bad name. And this is a guy who recently lost his job because of a picture with a drink in it from 3 years ago. Who was he? A former NFL player that became a youth football coach. And we'll get into the specifics of his situation. I think it's horrible. I think it's all right, I'll go as far as to say this. I think it's a sin how this man was treated. Maybe you disagree, but we'll get into the specifics of it later. Right now, though, Funkhouser, let's talk about this Oscar conspiracy theory for a second. Oh, no, not news.
Oh, oops.
There's the gun. All right. So the wrong Best Picture award was almost handed out last night. It was unbelievably awkward. Let's hear Warren Beatty try and explain away the mistake.
Hello. I want...
Warren, what did you do?
I want to tell you what happened. I opened the envelope, and it said, Emma Stone, La La Land. That's why I took such a long look at Faye and at you. I wasn't trying to be funny.
Well, you were funny.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is
Moonlight, the Best Picture.
Yeah. Okay.
The Oscars were an agonizing 3 hours and 45 minutes long. You watch the whole thing, Funkhouser? Do you get comfortable? Yeah, really? Like
all of it.
Well, I usually give these things the big old Missaroo because anything that is even vaguely interesting you can watch the next day on the internet. But that is one thing that I would have wished that I would have seen in real time as it unfolded. The only truly interesting part happened around the 3 hour and 42 minute mark. Like, of all the awards to drop the ball on. Best Picture, it was when Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway announced the winner for Best Picture. The wrong winner. They said it was La La Land, and everybody came up and started giving their speeches. But then the accountants who tally the votes came out to let everybody know that Moonlight had actually won. Turns out that Warren and Faye were handed the wrong envelope. Boy, did the bus get backed over them. They were given the one for the previous award, Best Actress. It said Emma Stone for La La Land. You could tell they were confused, but Faye read it anyway because that was what was on the card. Remember, like this thing. Like, do you know many actors, Funkhouser?
Like personally, no.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we know Randall Reeder, but Randall Reeder is like this guy that is just he's a creator. I know so many people that are actors that really, they just, if they don't have it written in front of them, and I know broadcasters like this too, but like, what is it? Where's my copy? I need my copy. You know, like if the red light goes on and they're not handed a script to read, they just freeze. And look, obviously this is a weird situation to be put in because, you know, they were handed the wrong envelope, and Faye just went, blah, 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 I'm going to go with what's in front of me, because I'm an empty vessel of an actor. But there you go. It was not a comfortable position for anyone to be put in, I don't think. Jimmy Kimmel made the Steve Harvey joke. Warren got on the mic and explained what happened again. But do you think, Funkhouser?
Yes.
Do you think this was a conspiracy?
I think it might have been. It seems like a reality show move, you know? Because
in the past, like I don't think the actors were in on it. I don't think Kimmel was in on it. I don't think anybody. If it was a conspiracy, it was perpetrated at the very highest level of the Oscars. Now you could understand because La La Land. Have you seen La La Land, Funkhouser?
No, and I'm sad that I haven't.
Apparently, the criticism La La Land gets is that it's about what, a jazz musician, right?
I think so.
You want to make sure I'm not completely talking out of my hindquarters here. Google La La Land and see what the plot is, just so I can make sure. But there was in the past, there's been a significant amount of outrage about the number of white actors and white people in general receiving awards, while talented people that are not white are being passed over. That's the theory. And it even spawned that hashtag Oscars so white. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And La La Land, is it about a jazz musician?
Yes. A struggling jazz pianist.
Like, jazz is, without a shadow of a doubt, an African-American thing. Like, and there is no getting around the fact that it is an art form that came from African-American musical traditions. That's just how it is. It's not exclusive. It's not exclusive to a person of color. Music is owned by everybody. But you know who created jazz? African-Americans. So there was a certain amount of criticism leveled at the fact that who is the star of La La Land, Funkhouser? Who's the struggling jazz musician?
Was that Ryan Gosling?
Like, I'm really white. That guy's whiter. Like, I am Whitey McWhite from Whitetown McWhiteville. Like, but that guy, you're like, hello, flavor.
Where I guess all the white people surf, right? That's
right, yes. Yeah, that's where, where the white people that used to surf who are now out of shape happen to live. That is where, anyways. That was the criticism leveled at La La Land. And you know what? The whole sort of like hashtag Oscars so white situation would have been intensified like you wouldn't believe. Wait a second. Hold on. They made a movie about black music. They cast a white guy as the lead and he wins the Oscar. What the hell, man? What the hell? And then at the very last moment, Moonlight, a movie I know nothing about, but I've watched the clips, and it looked like everybody that was getting on stage was conspicuously not white. So they handed the award to begin with to a white guy that had, in the eyes of many people, been in a movie which appropriated black culture and used it for gain and didn't acknowledge that black culture, which would have set the Twitterverse on fire. And then at the very last minute, no, we're not giving it to a white guy after all. And like, it could not have happened in a more visible way. In a time where the Oscars getting a ton of bad press for not being inclusive enough, they have this weird snafu at the end that is, I don't think, ever happened in the history of Oscars that leads to the entire world. Like, Funkhouser, I don't care about the Oscars. We wouldn't be talking about this today if this hadn't happened. But now I know. Now I know who won Best Oscar. Or Best Picture, whatever. I don't even know the names of the awards, but I know that a movie featuring mostly non-white people won for Best Picture, and it was a big deal. And I never would have known had they not had that snafu. So I wonder, this is my little Alex Jones conspiracy theory at work. Was this on purpose? Was this on purpose to get worldwide attention to the fact that the Oscars had overnight become inclusive? Like, I even saw two tweets from Russell Simmons. One was one where he said, I can't even remember. He said something about, I think it was like Ryan Gosling doesn't even deserve to carry Denzel Washington's shoes or something like that. Hashtag Oscars so white. I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember exactly what it was. But then almost immediately, another tweet popped up saying, I am proud of the Oscars for having become so inclusive or something like that. So like people like Russell Simmons, leaders in the community of media and entertainment, went from absolutely condemning the situation to being like, all right, well done. You did your thing. So the benefit of it, the way it made the entire world go, what the hell, man? What the hell? Oh, look who won. I think it was on purpose, and I think they backed the bus over Faye Dunaway, and I think they backed the bus over Warren Beatty and Jimmy Kimmel and everybody there. Boom. That's what I think.
Truth bomb.
Truth bomb! Oh, my gosh. All right, Funkhouser, what do you think?
I'm with you, man.
Before you turn it on.
I smelled it from the beginning.
The hell was that?
Are you playing commercials over there?
Not intentionally. Yeah. It's that level of professionalism that we maintain on a regular basis that allows us to cast aspersions on the people that organize the Oscars. What was that we were saying earlier about judging? Maybe we should go directly to the news. But do you think it was... Do you buy into my conspiracy theory, Funkhouser?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You think it was on purpose?
Immediately, I thought it was on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I just read something the same day saying that our president is using all of the reality show tricks.
Really?
I didn't read the article. I just read the headline.
Oh, you just read the headline?
Mm-hmm.
What's the TLDR? Too long didn't read?
That's it.
You know what is interesting kind of about the way Donald Trump approaches media and how he handled everything? You know, and it was amazing because these things stick. These things absolutely stick. They really do. But he hired Steve Bannon, guy who ran Breitbart, as his strategist. You know, Steve Bannon really good at manipulating the idea of people's thinking and perception and things like that. I mean, and that doesn't make him anything other than a guy who really knows what he's doing in the world of media. I'm not saying here that the Steve Bannon conversation is a long one for a different show, but if there's one thing that a guy like Steve Bannon is really good at, it's coming up with headlines. It's coming up with things that stick in the public consciousness. It's catchphrases, things of that nature. You know, that is the currency especially in this day and age of stickiness to themes through clicks and things of that nature. So Steve Bannon was the guy that I believe came up with this idea that Donald Trump should give all of his competitors in the primaries nicknames. Do you remember this? Do you remember, how when you think of him talking about Marco Rubio, what do you think?
Oh, he had a name for him. I can't remember.
Little Marco. What about Ted Cruz?
Lion Ted.
Lion Ted. And what about what was Hillary?
Crooked Hillary.
Yeah, exactly. See, you remember this stuff. Crooked Hillary, Little Marco, and Lion Ted. And the nicknames only really stuck with people that gave Donald Trump any kind of hassle. Like, he had dealt with a lot of other people earlier on, but when someone became a threat, he assigned them a nickname: Lion Ted, Little Marco, and Crooked Hillary. And that apparently was Steve Bannon's idea. So in terms of, and you know what? No one called him on it. No one has done the whole thing of there's literally so many names or so many adjectives. Lion, crooked, the way he applied Lion, Crooked, and Little to Marco and Hillary and to Ted Cruz. Like, you could do the same thing to Trump, yet no one has. No one's been clever enough. And it seems like such a simple thing. And a lot of people didn't even notice it happened, but I did. I was just like, hey, he just says it, on TV in front of millions of people, and now people are just going Lion Ted. They don't know if Ted Cruz lied. They don't necessarily even know what the debate was about. They just know Lion Ted, Lion Ted, Lion Ted. Gets stuck in their head. Little Marco, Crooked Hillary. Gets stuck in your head. And is that going to affect your perception? Hell yes, it is going to affect your perception. Whether it is subliminally or whether you are aware of it, that will have an effect on the outcome of things. And I don't know if that's a reality show trick, but people want to be easily identified and categorized and things of that nature. Simple people that like a simple narrative, like to be able to put folks in a simple box. And when you put one adjective in front of their name, a one-word adjective, it really, really sticks. So I don't know about, the whole idea of him using reality television show tricks in his presidency, but in terms of manipulating the media and manipulating perception and things of that nature, he's got Steve Bannon on his side, and Bannon is a master of that. Evidence being, Funkhouser, Ted Cruz is who?
Lion Ted.
Yeah, see? Do you know, can you think of any instances where Ted Cruz has lied? Like a specific thing where you like, oh, they caught him lying. He definitely lied. Mm-hmm. That's the time where Ted, you can't think of him. But when you think of Ted Cruz, you think Lion Ted. There you go. Which is why from here on in, I will be known as Well Hung AD, whether it has anything to do with the truth or not.
Every day you're going and working, running that rat race, and that pace and that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way, yeah.
Real radio.
104.1.
Funkhouser, maybe we need to,
more AD on the radio.
You want to wait for Shadow?
Yeah, maybe we should learn how to talk after the introduction as opposed to before. Maybe we should get you a different nickname, because right now your super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhouser, which I really like, because not only does it establish you as a super producer, but also to the stars, well, hey, what would that make me? Despite my woefully inadequate bank account. But like Lion Ted, Crooked Hillary, Little Marco, maybe we need to be more succinct with our title.
I can't
Big
think
Junk
of a good-
Roundtree.
Yeah.
Big Junk Roundtree kind of works in the long run. But, like, how do we shorten yours to something that'll be easy to remember? So, like, I mean, and that's the thing. This is what we pointed out. Like, can you think of an instance where Ted Cruz lied? Like, what is one lie that you know for a fact that Ted Cruz has been caught in? You can't remember. There's so much going on at that time, and maybe he was caught in a lie, maybe he wasn't. But you know him as Lying Ted because Steve Bannon said, "Hey, Trump, you want to obliterate the competition? All you got to do." Put a negative adjective before their name and you'll be good to go. And it worked. I mean, it's one of many things that worked. But, you know, like if we're trying to establish ourselves at like super producer Barry Funkhouser, that's good, right?
Yeah, nobody has my last name. Come on. I don't need a describing word if you have a last name like mine.
Well, I mean, also super is pretty good. But it doesn't describe who you are and what you do.
Unless you speak German, then you know.
Funkhouser is really German for Radio Shack?
Mm-hmm. Or Radio House, if you want to be specific.
Radio
but,
House,
you know.
right. Yeah. Well, you know, because the star part of the title isn't fully established yet. It's a Radio Shack, not a Radio House. We have not quite gotten there yet. If we have time, we're going to talk about judgment about a Christian that lost his job serving a Christian community because of a damning picture that appeared on his wife's Instagram from 3 years ago. What was she doing in this picture? I'm not calling it a fireable offense. We'll get into it a little later on. Right now, though, let's actually take a look at the news. Funkhouser, what is going on?
Well, the 89th Annual Academy Awards aired last night on ABC.
Still not sure who to blame for the Oscar screw-up, but I bet Mel Gibson does.
They did a lot of shots of him smiling and laughing, too, this time.
Did they really?
Mm-hmm. They kept going to him, and there he is, smiling and laughing.
Well, there you go. I believe Kellyanne Conway called La La Land the best alternative picture winner. Casey Affleck won Best Actor. Emma Stone won Best Actress. Halle Berry won for Best What the Hell is on Her Head? What was that? That was a wig, right? I mean, that's not something human hair does. Yeah. All right. Justin Timberlake opened with a song from Trolls. Yes, that's right. A ceremony dedicated to diversity opened with the only white guy in R&B. My friend Greg, growing up, like one of my best friends on the face of the planet, was black. Oh, still is. But I remember once we were talking about where we were potentially going to go to school. You know, like, where would you like to go to college? And at the time I had, you know, I was just in middle school, but I'd spent some time in Boston. And I really liked the whole sort of vibe out there. And I had family there. And other cousins had gone to college in Boston. And needless to say, when I was a teenager, I got a record deal. And that kind of put paid to the idea of going on to further education. You offer a kid a credit card and a tour bus versus a dorm room and some homework. Guess which one he's going to opt into? Anyways, I thought I was going to go to Boston. And I remember my friend Greg, he's like, Boston, they're so racist, even their basketball team is white. And I was like, I see what you did there. By the way, I don't know the ethnic makeup of Boston's basketball team now, but he said that. And that's kind of like Justin Timberlake opening the Oscars. Ceremony dedicated to diversity opened with the only white guy in R&B. Go on.
The Iranian winner of Best Foreign Film boycotted the Oscars over Trump's travel ban.
Also because he didn't want to catch headlights from Casey Affleck. Ugh. What the hell was going on with that? Go on, what else?
Viola Davis won Best Supporting Actress for Fences, and O.J. Made in America won for Best Documentary.
So big night for people who get away with murder. Go on.
The Salesman won for Best Foreign Film, even though the film's Iranian director didn't attend due to the travel ban.
Yeah. Wow. Boy, if Trump hears about that win and that guy not showing up, he might start to think people in Hollywood don't like him. Perish the thought. Go on.
Bey will not play Coachella because of her pregnancy.
Oh, yeah, Beyonce. Like, that was a whole big thing. Like, she was the headliner. That was the reason people were buying tickets. So this was a conversation at the convention that we went to a little while ago. Like, this one dude was like, my daughter
at the rock
bought
convention.
Tickets. Yeah, the rock convention. No wonder nobody went to the strip club or out afterwards. Like, they were talking about Beyonce. No, it was actually because this one guy's daughter, he was like, she bought tickets to Coachella, and she is mad at the idea of Beyonce not playing. That was what she wanted to go see. That's the marquee name that she wanted to catch. You know, Beyonce is one of the biggest artists on the face of the planet. That's a marquee name a lot of people wanted to catch. And she said she was gonna, and then now not so much. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. You know, will people ask for their money back? Will they get it? We'll see. But yeah, Beyonce not playing Coachella because of her pregnancy. Which, when you think of it, is incredibly ironic, Funkhouser.
Why is that?
Well, Beyonce not playing Coachella because of her pregnancy means that she had to pull out because Jay-Z didn't.
Very close, but that's all you get.
Go on. What else, Funkhouser?
Arsenio Hall has dropped a lawsuit against Sinead O'Connor over statements she made that he gave drugs to Prince.
Yeah, when Prince died, I don't know if you know the history, but you know who wrote Nothing Compares to You, Funkhouser?
Prince? Yeah.
Yes.
Prince Rogers Nelson.
Yeah, so Sinead and Prince had some kind of working relationship. We don't know if they ever stood in the same room, but he gave her the song that absolutely turned her into a worldwide thing for a minute there. That's the connection between Sinead and Prince. And I don't know if they actually really knew each other, but when Prince died, she said that Arsenio Hall was the person that was giving drugs to Prince, and that essentially Arsenio is to be blamed for Prince's death. And he was suing her. He now dropped the lawsuit. I believe that's good news, because now Arsenio and Sinead can both focus on their busy schedules of wishing it was still 1991.
Real radio.
104.1. There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
Funkhouser, how much time do we have left? This is like our last. This is it. We've been doing this show for 3 years, so of course it makes total sense when I ask you, how long is this segment again?
13.
Oh, okay. So we have time to do some news. Let's do a little bit of news, and then we'll talk about why you should not judge lest you be judged.
Oh, Mr. T's going to be in the news here. Mr. T is a contestant on the new season of Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, thank you for letting us know, Chris Rock. When you do Mr. T, you sound a lot like Chris Rock. Have you ever tried to do it?
Somebody pitched my voice down.
You do a very good Chris Rock, an unintentional Chris Rock. Say, I want something Chris
like
Rock
I
would
didn't
say.
know. Telling me like I didn't know things. I'm over here knowing.
Hold on, that's incredible. So
way less funny.
Again, we've been doing this show for 3 years. This is the first.
How you gonna sit there and think that this is new?
You've never done this before. Like, are you aware? This isn't something you just discovered that you could do, is it? Have you been doing a Chris Rock impersonation for a while now?
Oh, like I do impressions all the time.
Yeah, but usually they're really, really bad, and they're funny because they're bad. Like, you know, like.
I disagree. This is bad. This is very bad.
No, this is good. When you went and did, if you haven't seen the clip on the internet yet, go watch Funkhouser doing his impersonation of Jay Leno for Jay Leno. It's not good, and Jay Leno is very aware of the fact that it's not good. This is good. If you did this for Chris Rock, I think he would be like, it's actually kind of close.
Hey, Chris, want to hear my Mr. T impersonation?
This is it? That's amazing. So wait, in all seriousness, how long have you known you could do this?
I don't know. I think I just do it because I'm sick right now.
Oh. There is a certain
I like to
sort
think
of
that
like...
I knew that, but...
Chris Rock does, when he screams and shouts, he does sound a little bit like he's got a cold. I don't know if it's his adenoids or something, but maybe you need the perfect storm of upper respiratory problems to be able to pull off your Chris Rock impersonation.
I hope this stays in my voice.
Yeah, that's really good, Funkhouser. Very good. So I forgot, what were we talking about?
We're talking about Mr. T.
Oh, that's right.
Contested on the next season of Dancing with the Stars.
If you're like me, you don't watch Dancing with the Stars because who cares? But the thing about it is, I will definitely be watching the next season of it just because Mr. T is beloved entertainer, one of the greatest entertainers of our generation, I think, of our lifetime. Not only that, but such a positive role model for kids growing up, and as if that weren't enough, such an inspiring guy when he beat cancer the way he did and came back stronger and better and more awesome. That he's just such an amazing, beloved, fantastic guy that he's just one of those people that I like to watch. If Mr. T's on something, I'm watching it. So I might actually watch a little bit of the next season of Dancing with the Stars if Mr. T is going to be on it. It's amazing. Super cool. Always love a chance to see Mr. T in action.
I wish you would.
It's just hard to believe that he had time in his busy schedule of pitying fools to do it, but I'm stoked that he is. Go on.
Gayle King says she once unknowingly dated a married man.
Yeah, but since she said it, well, Oprah wasn't around. Nobody paid attention. Go on.
Ben Affleck moved back in with Jennifer Garner.
Oh, look at him working out. You porked the nanny, but you can move back in because ultimately we're still family. This is our new nanny. His name is Ralph. He's very large and very muscular. Let's see how this goes. Yeah. If she can get over the fact that he cheated, can't we do the same for Batman versus Superman?
Never.
Yeah, some things are truly unforgivable. Go on.
There's a proposal in Sweden to allow people to go home for paid hour-long sex breaks during the workday.
Yeah, I'd heard about this. This is an interesting one. You know how you get paid time off in some professions in America? Like, vacation days, or you get a paid lunch hour or something like that.
Should be time on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's this, like Funkhouser said, this proposal in Sweden which would allow people to go home for paid 1 hour long sex breaks during the workday. But here's the thing. Do you have to qualify it? You know how if you go to the doctor, I need a sick day, I'm going to the doctor. You have to provide a doctor's note. Do you have to provide some, if you're going to take the break, do you have to prove that you did the thing? The ow. Does there need to be some sort of post-coital proof of the situation to allow you to get the paid hour-long sex break during the workday? What do you think, Funkhouser? Because apparently if this is one of those things where if it works in Sweden, it'll probably be adopted by other countries. I can't imagine America would be one of them. But if you were offered a paid hour-long sex break during the workday, would you be into that?
Would I be into it?
Yeah,
sure, fine. I mean, the commute alone would limit that way down.
Yeah, I wonder if it specifically has to be sex with another person. I don't know. It's one of those things that sounds great on paper, and you go, boy, other parts of the world have something on the ball that we don't. Pun not intended, but hilarious. But you look at it and you go, what a great idea. But I don't think an hour-long sex break during the workday, I don't think I would enjoy that. Because honestly, what would I do with the other 58 and a half minutes? Go on.
Fort Collins, Colorado has overturned a ban on women going topless.
And that sound you hear in the background is people frantically booking flights to Fort Collins. I'm on the radio in Fort Collins, Colorado.
You
Funkhouser? Yeah. K-Paw. Fort Collins, Colorado carries me.
On the radio?
Radio.
What?
People in Fort Collins hear me on the regular, and now we have something to really, really talk about.
You do radio?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Lots of different stations.
Unbelievable.
And it's one of those things where, the Descendants, right?
Not personally, but you probably do.
No. Descendants were a huge deal to me. We talked about this. Oh, man, how much time do we have left in the show?
We got another 6 here.
So, when I was a kid on the Warped Tour, Descendants they're not a band that a lot of people know, but to the people that know them, they're a big, big deal. And I remember, one of my first tours of America What is the perpetual slapping sound I hear over there, Funkhouser?
Oh,
Like,
that's
what
just me tapping the mouse.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I won't. Continue your story.
But so, like, it was a super big deal. To meet the guys from Descendants. When I first came to America from England, we're on Warped Tour, and one of the other bands on tour is Descendants. And there's all these other bands, like bigger bands, more well-known bands, that I've never been awestruck. I've never really had any kind of like, ooh, this person's famous, this person's a big deal. I don't know why. Like, I think it's cool when people do things that reach a lot of people, but I've never really been geeked out about meeting too many people, except for when the guys from Descendants came up. I'd be like, hi, nice, good show. Like, that was all I could muster. Like, backstage at Warped Tour being like, good show. And they're like, hey, thank you, good to know you. How are you? My name's Milo. My name's, like, they were extremely nice and extremely gregarious. And all I could be like, I like your band. You meant a lot to me over the years. Like, I stuttered. I don't have a stutter, but I stuttered when trying to talk to the Descendants. And so, come full circle, have one of these big moments where, like, I'm an adult now, I've been in radio, people like the Descendants come to me in hopes that I will give them airplay. That's how the worm has turned, and I'm in a completely different place now. And I go see Descendants a couple months ago, playing in this little venue called Soma. And I go there, and I get a chance to meet them. I'm like, this time I'm going to meet them, and it's going to be different. Bands come to me cap in hand, dying for airplay on the radio stations that I program. I'm not abusive of that power, but let's be real here. It's a very different situation from when I was extremely stoked to open up for them as a teenager back in the day. And they're like, hey, AD, this is Milo from Descendants. And I was like, hi, I really, I like your band a lot. It's meant a lot to me over the years. It's nice to meet you. That was it. Like, I completely geeked out. But I did talk to some of the other guys from the band, and it turns out they live in Fort Collins, Colorado. They're like, oh yeah, I listened to you on the radio out there. K-Paw. I was like, oh, sweet. Thank you for listening.
Oh,
like,
thank you so much.
Yeah, pretty much just like, oh, thanks. It means a lot. Thanks very much. Thanks. Thank you. But like the guy from Descendants, Milo, is like super smart. He's he's got a PhD. He was a chemist for DuPont up until a little while ago. And what was interesting, he's like Dexter from The Offspring and Homeboy from Bad Religion. He is one of several punk rock singers that happens to be a scientist as well. And he was just like, he bailed on science to do Descendants full time again because he felt like the scientists at DuPont were too macho, like too ego-driven. I didn't know this about the science world, but the way that sort of like aggressive type A jocks are, around sports, like he said scientists are just the same. They're completely ego-driven and so testosterone-driven. He wanted to just go create. He was like, I'm running out of years where I can go do music. I'm just going to go do music until I can't then worry about being a chemist moving forward and get another job with another type of DuPont company. There you go. And you know what that teaches us? That teaches us not to judge. It teaches us not to have preconceived notions of how things are and the way they sit. And especially in religion. Like we said, a tenet that runs through pretty much every religion. You can find any religious text, and at one point or another, they're going to say, love is important, don't judge other people. Love is the way to go. Now, there's plenty of contradictory things in the same religious text, but you would think that because of that, if the Pope says, who am I to judge? If the Pope says, who am I to judge? Then who are any of us to judge? This is very reminiscent of that town in Footloose, where dancing was illegal. Fernando Bryant, he was a cornerback who played 10 NFL seasons. He was fired from a job as head coach of Georgia's Strong Rock Christian School less than 3 weeks after signing his contract. The reason? A photo, 3-year-old photo on his wife's Instagram account. The picture on her Instagram account showed her with her husband holding a bottle of liquor. That's it. 3-year-old picture where she was with her husband holding a bottle of liquor. After discovering the picture, parents raised issues about the post. Oh, we got a new football coach. Let's go through their family's Instagram account and see if there's anything damning in there. That's the Christian thing to do. When Bryant refused to resign, he said he was fired. In his termination letter, the school said that some within our parental community raised concerns regarding your family's public presence on social media and the internet and questioned whether the postings and information were consistent with our Christian values. And you know what Brian said? He said something very interesting. And you know what? Our inability to produce any kind of solidarity when the crunch moment comes in America is reflected in his statement. Brian said if one parent or one part of a school can control it that much as far as Christianity, it makes you wonder what time we're in. I'm a Christian. And he said this. That's the one thing that gives Christianity a bad name. When we start passing judgment on each other. I want you to try something for me today. Try and go the rest of the day without judging anything or anyone. Don't judge someone's shoes. Don't judge their hair. Don't judge the way they look, how they talk. Try and take a day off of judgment. It will take a lot of effort to not judge, and you probably won't succeed. But then at the end of the day, take stock of how much time you usually spend judging, how much you had to hold yourself back, and think, what else could that energy be used for?
You know how other times you feel like it's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it.